Okay guys, I think we're live, maybe again. Let's try this again. Maybe. Give it a few minutes. Make sure it doesn't spin. Make sure you can hear me. Still says okay. Okay. Alright, all looks good so far. Alright. Now we can get back to what we were doing. If I can remember what that was. Oh yeah, that's right. Alright. Okay, I think we were right here on this. Down here, add it again. Chart. And okay. Alright, so here's the chart that we were discussing before we got kicked off. This chart explains, I think we left it off in Scorpio. Scorpio controls your groin area, your crotch and your joints. Sagittarius, who's the archer, he controls your buttocks and your thighs. Capricorn, the goat, controls your knees, your skin, and your bones. Aquarians, the water bearers, they control your calves and your ankles. And then you've got Pisces, who controls your feet. Now, when you look astrologically at your body and where the planets are, that also depends on this here. Charts. Astrological like that there. Okay, this here. As you notice, this wheel, okay, as I said, Aries, the ram, is in the head. You gotta, as you look at this wheel, the houses go around to your left, while the actual zodiac goes around to your right. So even though Aries is in the first house, she's the ram, and Taurus is in the second house, Gemini is in the third house, that's how they're labeled. But in the zodiac, it spins, okay? And that's according to like those that are trying to figure out their birth chart and things like that. The wheel always spins, and I'm pretty sure I have it right. It might be the other way around, but I'm pretty sure it's this way. The houses go counterclockwise, while the astrological symbols go clockwise. And that's depending on what symbol is in what house. You know, you can tell a lot about yourself and, you know, like the pains and the ailments that you're having, so much as to where you can supplement bath salt, or not bath salts, basic salts. They're tissue salts. We have them in our body. So I want to talk about that as well. Let's see here. Let me add a picture here. Picture. Add source. Tissue salts. Alright. That would be right here. Tissue salts, tissue salts. That's the body weight, elements found in the body. There we go. Cell salts, they're not tissue salts, they're cell salts. Call them tissue salts. Okay, so all right. So here are the 12 basic cell salts. Okay, that our body has in it, and basically, what tissue salts are? They're inorganic constituents of cells. These components are the building blocks of cells and life. Back in the mid 1850s, a German scientist, Virchow, who made many scientific discoveries, including recognizing leukemia cells, contributed to the development of cell therapy or cell theory. That the body is made up of cells. This led others, including and likely, most recognizably, Dr. W.H. Schulzer, to create the biochemic system of medicine, which conveyed the importance of 12 inorganic substances found in cells to our well-being. Without a balance of these 12 substances, there are all essential. The body can find itself in predicaments of diseases or discomfort. Let me say that again now, guys. Okay? These 12 inorganic substances found in cells to our well-being. Without a balance of these 12 substances, they are all essential. The body can find itself in predicaments of disease or discomfort. The result of these discoveries led to developing tissue salts, which are very closely aligned with homeopathic remedies and created the same way. Just as with other homeopathic remedies, one determines which salt is desirable based on symptoms one is experiencing, rather than the name of one's ailment. For example, someone with water retention or liver or gallbladder issues may find the tissue salt called natrum sulfuriacum. Short name is nat sulf. Helpful. A headache in the morning relates to a different salt than a stress headache. Fortunately, these 12 salts are also known by their numbers because the actual names take a bit of getting used to. There are 4 categories: phosphates, chlorides, sulfates, and fluorides. They are components of the muscles, nerves, connective tissues, bones, brain, cartilage, skin, hair. The number list is at the end of this article, which I'm showing you right now. These tissue salts are easily found at health food stores, and there is a lot of documentation online and in books. The best part about them is that there are no known contradictions of side effects, and they work well, even for children and animals. In the 1910s, a U.S. physician, Dr. George W. Carey, and his collaborator, Ians Indora Perry, found themselves through research and collections of case studies, pinpointing the vibration of each mineral of the 12 salts to a zodiac sign. The work is fascinating, and the writings by these two describe, in the now archaic language of the times, the spiritual, chemical, and cosmic law alignments of minerals to planetary and zodiacal energies. Dr. Carey writes about the chemistry of life and the natural law of chemical affinity. The books discuss esoteric chemistry and a spiritual point of view that supports as above, so below, from the retention of the mineral salts of the body to the signs of the zodiac. A little earnest, patient study will open up the understanding of one possessed of ordinary intelligence and make plain the great truth that the universe is what the word implies, i.e., one verse. It logically follows that all parts of one thing are susceptible to the operation of any part. Carey and Perry identified that as we age, the sun burns or uses up the minerals associated with our own sun sign. They recommend supplementations as necessary. Perry also said in some letters compiled by Lorena Gershenheid, I especially recommend the cell salts to all spiritual aspirants and initiates. So see, these tissue salts are actually in the zodiac. Like, you can tell what your salt is. And it'd probably be a good idea to start taking that salt. Like, our bodies are aligned with the cosmos. Like I said yesterday, we are made out of star stuff. That's Carl Sagan said that. And literally we are. We are made out of stars. I mean, that's basically what the Earth was, or is. Dirt, chemicals. All these things that make up these atoms. Guys, it goes much... If you don't know this stuff, it'll be easy to be tricked by that book, or any other book, whether it be Syrian, Babylonian, Akkadian, Egyptian, it doesn't matter. When you dig down and look, you find that everything aligns with the cosmos. Everything we do here on Earth, like he said, as above, so below. You know, practicing sorcerer. All as above, so it's not just Illuminati. It's truth. It's what Hermes and Plato and all them guys back then were trying to tell people. What is above is the same as what is below. Just in different aspects, different visions, different realms. We can get into that also. Let's take a look here. Man, I hate having to add pictures. This sucks, but okay, let's do it. Old man. Am I still alive? Am I still... This is the Adams, so that's the Adams. I don't want some particular. There we go. Alright. Alright, so all the maps from, oh, I don't know, a long time ago, back in the day, 1800s maybe, 1700s, somewhere around there, they looked like this, okay? Now if you look at this map, you take notice, you've got a line that runs through the middle on both balls, and under that line, you have one that goes down 23.5 degrees, meets right there where it connects, and then it goes up 23.5 degrees. Okay? Every map looks like this because every map has an equator or an equinox. And there's also one that goes up, but I can't remember the name of it. But we're going to concentrate on this line here. Okay? This orbital line, as I showed you, it might have been yesterday, I think. The moon. Remember, I always talk about the moon and the orbital line that it travels. It's the same thing as you just seen on that map. It's 23.5 degrees up, 23.5 degrees. One is positive, one is negative. Okay? And all this mixes in your Bible as well, but not the way they tell you. In other writings as well, but kind of not the way they told you. Even the Egyptians knew all this. You can look at the Egyptian hieroglyphs, and it's all right there. You just got to know what you're looking at. So, when you look at these lines, this line that I just explained to you in that chart with the astrological symbol, it's the same line. Guys, everything is the Fibonacci sequence. Everything is vibration. As I showed you about the atoms, the matter of man. Okay? Each molecule is matter and non-matter. Like you're yin and you're yang. You're good and you're evil. You're male and you're female. Okay? There's always a pair. You see what I'm saying? So with this line, let me see here. Is this it? Alright, yeah, with this line, I want to read a little something for you, and let me put a picture here. I gotta put a picture here going on here. Well, I have it. There it is. I knew I had it. Alright. Alright, here you go. Here it is in a nutshell. Yes, I know it says occult anatomy, but it's still the anatomy. This is all the truth wrapped up in one. This is what people have been trying to say. Let me read you a little something here. I take no credit from this. This is Manly P. Hall, The Human Body and Symbolism. In Scripture, we are told that God made man in his own image. It is so stated not only in the Christian Bible, but also in the holy writings of nearly all enlightened people. The Jewish patriarchs taught that the human body was a microcosm, or little cosmos, made in the image of the microcosm, right? Microcosm, or the great cosmos. This analogy between the finite and the infinite is said to be one of the keys by the aid of which the secrets of Holy Writ are unlocked. There is no doubt that the Old Testament is a psychological and anatomical textbook to those capable of reading it from the scientific viewpoint. The functions of the human body, the attributes of the human mind, and the qualities of the human soul have been personified by the wise men of the ancient world, and a great drama has been built around their relationships to themselves and to each other, to the great Egyptian demigod Hermes. The human race owes its concept to the law of analogy, and the great Hermetic axiom was, that which is above is like unto that which is below, and that which is below is like unto that which is above. The religions of the ancient world were all based upon nature worship, which in a generated form has survived to our own clay as phallicism. The worship of the parts of the functions of the human body began in the later Lemurian period. During the Atlantean epoch, this region gave place to sun worship, but the new faith incorporated into it doctrines many of rituals and symbols of the previous belief. The building of temples in the form of the human body is a custom common to all peoples. The tabernacle of the Jews, the great Egyptian temple of Karnak, the religious structures of the Hawaiian priests, and the Christian churches laid out in the form of the cross are examples of this practice. If the human body were laid out with the arms spread in the shape of any of these buildings, it would be found that the high altar would occupy the same relative positions in the building that the brain occupies in the human body. All the priests of the ancient world were anatomists. They recognized that all of the functions of nature were reproduced in miniature and in human body. They therefore used man as the textbook, teaching their disciples that to understand man was to understand the universe. These wise men believed that every star in the heavens, every element in the earth, and every function in nature was represented by a corresponding center pole or activity within the human body. This correlation between nature without and the nature of a man within, which was concealed from the multitudes, formed the secret teachings of the ancient priestcraft. Religion in Atlantis and Egypt was taken much more serious than it is today. It was the very life of these people. The priests had complete control over the millions of ignorant men and women who had been taught since childhood that these robed and bearded patriarchs were direct messengers from God, and it was believed that any disobedience to the commands of the priests would bring down upon the offenders head and wrath of the Almighty. The temple depended for its maintenance upon the secret wisdom, which gave the priests control over certain powers of nature and made them vastly superior in wisdom and understanding to the laity whom they controlled. These wise ones realized that there was a great deal more involved in religion than the chanting of mantras and the singing of hymns. They realized that the path of salvation could be walked successfully only by those who had practical scientific knowledge of the occult function of their own bodies. The anatomical symbolism which they involved in order to perpetuate this understanding has come down to modern Christianity, but the keys to it apparently have been lost. It is a tragic situation for religionists that they are surrounded by hundreds of symbols which they cannot understand. But it is still sadder that they have even forgotten that these symbols ever had any meaning other than foolish interpretations which they themselves have communicated. The idea prevalent in the minds of Christians that their faith is the one and only truly inspired doctrine, and that it came parentless to the world, is unreasonable in the extreme. A study of comparative religions proves beyond doubt that Christianity has begged, borrowed, or stolen its philosophies and concepts from the religions and philosophies of the ancient and medieval pagan worlds. Among the religious symbols and allegories which belonged to the world long ago before the coming of Christianity are a few to which we like to call our attention. The following Christian symbols and concepts are of pagan origin. The Christian cross comes from Egypt and India. The triple mitre from the faith of the Mithrics. The shepherd's crook from the Hermetic mysteries of Greece. The Immaculate Conception from India. The Transfiguration from Persia. And the Trinity from the Brahmas. The Virgin Mary is the Mother of God, is found in a dozen different faiths. There are over 20 crucified world saviors. The church steeple is an adaptation of Egyptian obelisks and pyramids, while the Christian devil is the Egyptian typhoon with certain modifications. The deeper one goes into the problem, the more he realizes that there is nothing new under the sun. A truly sincere study of the Christian faith proves beyond all doubt that it is an evolutionary outgrowth of primitive doctrines. There is an evolution in religion as well as in physical form. If we accept and incorporate into our doctrines and religious symbolism of nearly 40 peoples, it behooves us to understand, at least in part, the meaning of the myths and allegories which we borrow, lest we be more ignorant than those from whom we secured them. Let's see here. Relationship existing between symbolism and the ancient priests and the occult functions of the human body. We must first understand that all sacred writings are supposed to be sealed with 7 seals. In other words, it is required 7 complete interpretations to understand fully the meaning of these ancient philosophical revelations, which we have liked to call Holy Writ, Scriptures, is not intended to be historical. These who understand its literal meaning understand heed less of its meaning. It is well-known fact that Shakespeare, for dramatic reasons, brought together in his plays characters who had actually lived hundreds of years apart. But Shakespeare was not writing history. He was penning drama. The same is true of the Bible. Scriptures leave historians hopelessly involved in self-contradictory chronological tables, where the majority of historians will remain until the judgment day. Scripture finishes excellent subject matter for the debates, and also grounds for hair-splitting over the meaning of terms and parable locations of unknown cities. Many of the biblical landmarks now pointed out by guides were named hundreds of years after the birth of Christ by pilgrims who suspected them of occupying sites somewhere near those mentioned in the Bible. All this may prove convincing to some, but to the thinker, it is conclusive evidence that history is the least important part of Scripture. When we impress Helena, mother of Constantine the Great, visited Jerusalem in 326 AD, she discovered that not only all traces of Christianity had already been lost, but that the temple dedicated to the goddess Venus stood on a hill now accepted as Mount Calvary. Less than 400 years after the death of Christ, there was apparently no one in the Holy Land who ever heard of him. This does not necessarily imply that he never lived, but it certainly does not indicate that the halo of miracles and supernatural atmosphere with which modern Christianity envelops him are largely mythological. Like all other religions, the Christian faith accumulated a weird collection of fantastic legends which are its own worst enemies. For they have taken the simple moralist of Nazareth, the man who loved his fellow creatures, and built it around him a superstructure of idolatry which loves no one and serves only himself. As Buddha in India merely reformed the Brahma concepts of his day, so Jesus reshaped the faith of Israel and gave to his disciples, the world, a doctrine based upon that which had gone before but remodeled to meet the needs of the people who surrounded him and the problems which confronted the Jewish nation. The Essenes who educated Jesus were the Egyptians or Hindu origin, and his faith incorporated the best of that which had gone before. The records preserved of him are largely allegorical, and the simple man is plumbed by them into great sea of supernaturalism. This was not entirely without purpose, however, for as Shakespeare took license with history in order to present essential truths, so it seems that historians of Jesus used the character of the man as a groundwork of the great drama. He becomes the hero of a 7-sealed story, and those Christians who have studied symbolism can gain from that story the key to true Christian mysteries. They will then realize that Scripture is perpetual history, that it pertains to no nation or people, but it is a story of all nations and people. It is a wonderful thing, for example, to study the life of Christ in the light of astronomy, for he becomes the sun, and his disciples the 12 signs of the zodiac. Among the constellations we find the scenes of his ministry, and in the procession of the equinoxes, the story of his birth, growth, maturity, and death for men. Again, the tortured chemicals in the retort further reveal to us that the life of the master, for with the key to chemistry and scriptures become another book. In this peculiar work, however, we can only concern ourselves with the relationship of these allegories to the human body. We discover that the life of Christ, as found in the Gospels, has been conventionalized until it agrees perfectly with the lives of dozens of the world's saviors. For all of them are also astronomical and physiological myths. All of these myths come to us out of the most remote antiquity, where the primitive races used the human body as the symbolic unit, and the gods and demons were personalized out of the origins and functions of the body. Among certain Kabbalistic writers, the Holy Land is mapped out on the human body, and the various cities are shown as centers of consciousness in men. There is a wonderful study here for those who will investigate deeply and sincerely the ancient mysteries. We cannot hope to cover all the ground, but if you can gain from this little booklet that I'm reading you from a key to the situation, we hope you will pursue the line of thought until you have made it all-inclusive and opened up one seal of the Book of Divine Revelation, which is your pineal gland. Guys, I'm telling you, it's really something. And I know people will look at it and say, oh my God, he's a devil worshiper. But you don't understand. It goes so much deeper than that. It's the anatomy of us. It's the anatomy of the human body, which we are. And like Manly P. Hall says, oh, I know him, Manly P. Hall, very wise individual. He's telling you exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Our bodies co-align with the stars. And if we use the stars, we can keep ourselves healthy. We don't need man to tell us how to keep us healthy. The gods did that way, 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 way back in the day. You got sidetracked. You got railroaded. Man railroaded you with this thing called religion. And that's any religion. Like I said, Academian, Egyptian, Syrian, Babylonian, Christian, whatever, Buddhist. Every single religion lines up with the going of the stars, with the cosmos. Like I showed you that picture of the cosmos, and the actual DNA is that's trying to tell you we are made from the stars. When we leave this earth, our consciousness is done. We are done. We go back to the stars. We become nothing. We don't have no... Do you remember anything before you were born? No. You're not going to remember anything after you're dead, either. Sorry to burst your bubble. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not reincarnation or someplace we go afterwards. Nobody really knows. Unless you talk to a Kabbalist or somebody that's into magic, or Buddha, the Dalai Lama. They're pretty smart people. They could probably give you some insights on what lies next. But I assure you, it's not hell. I can guarantee you it's not hell. I'm not saying there is not an afterlife like hell, because the Egyptians said it. That's where, where's the bird-faced dude? Anubis. He is the gates, the keeper of hell. So, I'm sure there is an underworld for sadistic, narcissistic, lying, murderous people, I'm sure there is. But the outlook people have today on the Bible and other Gnostic writings, like, let's go, matter of fact, I want to take you to, I want to show you something here. I'm not sure. Let me see how to do this here. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Since we're on the subject of Gnostic writings, to show you a video. I'm not going to show you the whole video because I don't want to take away from dude, but I will post his channel in the description box so you can watch the whole video. I just want to point out some aspects he says here. Find it here. I know I have it here somewhere. Yeah, I can't. Why is that happening? Now I can't find it. Wait a minute. I know it's here. Well, that's just weird. I don't think it got taken down. Okay, so dude was talking about other Gnostic Gospels. Here it is. Here it is. I knew I had it. Hold on a minute, guys.
Shalom, friends. I just want to share with you.
Alright. Let me see here. 706. I gotta get rid of this ad first. Okay.
From the eye, so he looked away. Judas said to him, heard this, they started to get angry and furious and started to curse him in their hearts. But when Jesus noticed their ignorance, he said to them, why are you letting your anger trouble you? Has your God within you and his stars become angry with your souls? If any of you is strong enough.
Here you go. This is genetically modified Skeptic. Go over and check him out. Like I said, I will leave a link in the description box for this video. It's the Gospel of Judas, a wild story from the Gospel excluded in the Bible. It's 20 minutes long, so I'm going to just pick out the good parts that he mentions here. Like I said, I don't want to take away from his video, so just in case it's monetized or whatever, but I will put the link in the description box below for him to have the credit. But listen to this. This is very, very interesting.
Angry and furious and started to curse them in their hearts. But when Jesus noticed their ignorance, he said to them, why are you letting your anger trouble you? Has your God within you and his stars become angry with your souls? If any of you is strong enough among humans to bring out the perfect humanity, stand up and face me. All of
Did you hear that? Jesus noticed their ignorance. He said to them, why are you letting your anger trouble you? Has your God within you and his stars become angry with your souls? Does that sound like a Jesus that would try to portray God? or be God. Totally different story. I encourage you to watch this video. I'm only pointing out the good parts. When you see the whole story, it will make you rethink. Let's go to 9:10 here, because somewhere around 9:10 he talks about something else that's good.
Are the crowd you lead astray? It's been said to the human generations, look, God has accepted your sacrifice from the hands of priests. That is the minister of error. But the Lord who commands is the Lord over everything. On the last day, they will be found guilty. Alright, that's a pretty graphic image. Jesus says that the disciples will lead people astray in his name and will be unknowingly serving a different God, one that delights in degeneracy and violence. It sounds like Jesus is even saying that ritual sacrifice isn't right and that those who have been relying on that for communion with God or salvation will be punished for it. Next.
Totally different from what the Bible says, huh? Let's go over to 11:20. Here's another good point he makes.
The last days either. Although Jesus says Judas will become or dwell in the 13th realm and rule over the 12 disciples, and maybe the realm of humanity in general. Next, Jesus tells Judas about cosmology, and it gets crazy. It's actually such a long and complex description of reality and the origin of the cosmos that I'm going to whittle it down to just a couple of necessary details. Read this on your own if you'd like to. Jesus said, "Come and I'll teach you about the mysteries that no human will see, because there exists a great and boundless realm whose horizons no angelic generation has seen, in which a great invisible spirit which no angelic eye has ever seen, no heart has ever comprehended, and it's never been called by any name." So there's a realm that not even angels have seen, where there's a great spirit which mankind doesn't even know about. That's not the Christian God.
And one last point, 1730. Like I said, go watch this video, guys. Go watch this video. 1730.
But to that I say, which early church? There was never a single theology from which all Christian sects sprung and splintered off of. Christianity was diverse from the very beginning, and the only reason we think otherwise is encapsulated in my next one. History is written by the winners. For a long time, the only things we knew about the Gospel of Judas and those who believed it came from people like Irenaeus, who opposed them. Is it any wonder that we've had less trouble finding the texts that those like Irenaeus upheld and more trouble finding those they despised? It's because by might, popularity, luck, or some combination thereof, those who upheld the texts we've always had won. They gained power, so they wrote the history we learn in our religious Bible classes. Imagine how much richer a history we'd have if all Christian sects were able to record their perspectives too.
Very interesting. Yeah. Like I said, I will leave this link to this video. Go watch the video in full. The channel name is Genetically Modified Skeptic. Very, very good content there, guys. How do I edit this to put it in? I'm gonna do it here. Okay, there it is, guys, under the video. Please go check it out. And also, like I said, Bruce Sees All here on YouTube. Go check him out. He'll keep you informed with the things that are going on in outer space, like things that have been seen on the moon, things that are happening with the sun. I've been paying a lot more attention to this stuff lately. knowing that our bodies, connect with the astrological symbols. And that's another thing. This Jesus had 12 disciples. There's 12 zodiac symbols that surround the sun. You see the astrological meanings of this book? That's why I said if you're looking at this book as a history book, you're wrong. You're done. You've already failed. You can put that little hat on and you're indoctrinated sheeple. It's not how it works. It's not how the ancients portrayed it. Like that kid said, those who win history write history. Does not make it true, guys. Does not make it true. It's their version of history. You want to know the truth? Go to the anatomy of your body and how it's really made. You'll be surprised to know that you are 666. You are the Antichrist. See how they spin things? It's a shame. It's really a shame because it's all right here. Ba-doop, ba-doop, to your higher self. Ba-doop. We'll go over these too. Taurus fields, we'll be going over them as well, and what they mean. Like I tell everybody, this here does not mean, well, I guess it could mean you're Lucifer, but really, it's the light bringer. Okay, yeah, it's Lucifer, but it's not. Lucifer isn't a devil or an evil guy. It's the light bringer. So, not evil. There's a lot of truth in that chart that I showed from Manly P. Hall. The Kabbalists know it. The Masons know it. The Illuminati know it. The elite know it. They all know it. Everybody knows it, except you. You don't. It was hidden from you. And you never woke up from the dark age. Now's your time to wake up. There's so much more there. There's so much more you can go in detail with it. Even reading tarot cards. Reading your own tarot card. Or getting your tarot cards read. You can keep track of things going on in your life, not just physically, but spiritually. Straight down to the ailments that you have. You don't need man-made medicine. You just need Mother Earth. Hello. Thank you, Mom. Guys, that's how they lived back then. That's how our ancestors lived. There was no big pharma. There was no, there was corruption. There was always corruption since the beginning of the world, but there was not like today. Not nearly like it is today. So, those that are interested, that have been sticking with me, thank you. And like I said, you'll learn more about these symbols and what they mean and how to get to your higher self, how to open your chakras so that when you keel over, you'll be ready to ascend to that higher consciousness. I don't know if you guys are on my Facebook page, but if you look at my Facebook page, I post videos of people that have had NDEs like me, near-death experiences, and what they seen.
Atheists at that.
And atheists at that. Like, I was still in the room. I didn't go anywhere. Like, I wasn't dead very long, apparently, or something. I don't know, but a lot of these people, they went further. And I can comprehend with what they're talking about, the feelings, just everything. It's still clear to me today. And that's why I had to second guess, was there a God? There is a God, but it's not like they tell you it is. There is a deity. There is a energy, a force that created the cosmos and everything in it. And I got news for you. We're not the only cosmos. We're not the only universe. We're not the only species. Government knows it. Why do you think they created a Space Force? The ancients knew it. Why do you think they were able to go through portals and vortexes and wormholes? Stuff that they make you think is fairy tale and myth is not fairy tale and myth. If you just do a little bit of research, you'll come to find out that, a lot of this stuff that they tell you is fairy tale. Why is that up there? is not fairy tale. Like I said, I plan on being on here more and bringing this stuff out to you, and you know, more stuff from Carl Sagan and Mandy P. Hall, and then maybe some Aleister Crowley will sneak in there. Pay attention, guys. It's coming. We're going to expose nothing but the truth on this channel. I know a lot of people go, "Hey, you're evil." My grandma's been saying that for the last 30 years. I guess if helping humanity know the truth is evil, then chalk me up. I'm evil. I feel that you guys have the right to know. And only the serious will go ahead and grab a hold of this. Only the serious. Only the ones that are comfortable leaving that box. Those that are not going to let cognitive dissonance or think that they know everything keep them from learning the truth. Because I had a problem with that at one time. I thought I knew everything. You couldn't convince me. There was a God, there was a Jesus, there was everything. You couldn't convince me. Until a higher power convinced me. And when I tell people today about my journey, they think I'm crazy. But I'm living witness. I'm living witness of the crazy that went on. And I'm still here. So that tells me that Cosmos ain't done with me yet. But there'll be a time. So these videos will serve those that find them later. Start learning your astrological symbols. Start learning your houses and the meaning of them. Start learning how to read your birth chart. Start learning how to read your daily horoscopes. You start getting sick or not feeling off kilter or something. Look into your astrological symbols. Look at where the planets are today and where the moon and the sun are situated. It'll tell you a lot of why you're feeling like you're feeling, or why you're having pain in a certain part of your body because of what astrological symbol is situated in what house in the cosmos. Because of how we're made, because of the anatomical structure, we have weaknesses depending on whether, what symbol, what planet is in what house. That's why it's good to know about the tissue salts or the cell salts. That's why it's good to know about what Mother Nature gives you, so that you can deal with your anxiety, or so that you can deal with your pain, or so that you can deal with, whatever you're having a problem with in your life. Like, having a problem with your blood vessels, eat some cayenne pepper. It'll open them things right up. You don't need poison, guys. You don't. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. You want to pay for poison, pay to kill yourself. That's your deal. You go for it. I've been there. I've seen it. No. Just like the cardiologist told me 7 years ago. Son, you have a bad heart. You need a pacemaker. Get away from me. Don't even think about it. I wasn't born with one, and I ain't going in there. And no. When this truck runs out of miles, it would be like a Ford. You can find it in the junkyard. I'm done. Ain't putting none of that stuff in there. Why? Because Mother Earth will help me to ascend. The knowledge is there, guys. You just got to read it. You got to be willing to accept it. Hermes, Plato, all them. All them that came before us, they all knew. It's the stuff they're telling you not to read. Don't read that. Don't read that. And when you start to learn all this stuff, you can sit back and just look at the way the world is today. And you can just be like, yeah, now I see why. Now I see why. Because of where the stars are. you watch Santos Bonacci, he shows you that 9/11 was in the stars. It was predicted. Scientists knew it. It was all right there. Everything is written in the stars, guys. Again, that Bible there's some truth to it. It's just they rearrange it and add a lot to it that's not supposed to be there. And like that kid said, those who win history write history. Doesn't make it true. So start thinking about that. And I will get together and gather up more content. I'll probably be on D Live next time. I try to alternate between D Live and YouTube. Someday I'll make it over to one of the other platforms. But right now, YouTube's the only one that seems to be not kicking me off. Well, I mean, it did there. But I've gotten a lot further with this on here than I did D Live. So I'll talk to you later. I'll bring you more. Anything I find interesting that intrigues me, I'll come on and talk about it. Hopefully more people will be in the chat room, more people will join. If not, it's okay. I'll see you on the next video. Till then, I'm out.